Happy evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Surya from Tago Medical College. And in our vitamin series, today it's vitamin B6 and vitamin B7. By the way, let me start with vitamin B6, the so called pyridoxine. Being a water soluble vitamin, it is a pyridoxine derivative. It consists of three closely related compounds, something like pyridoxine, pyridoxal, and pyridoxamine. Where pyridoxine is an alcohol, pyridoxamine is an amine, and pyridoxal is an aldehyde. All the components are equally effective and active. Effective as precursors of coenzyme PLP. PLP is nothing but pyridoxal phosphate. This PLP is the coenzyme form of pyridoxine. So this pyridoxamine is mostly present in plants. Pyridoxal and pyridoxine is present in animal foods. Pyridoxine can be converted to pyridoxal and pyridoxamine. Now, pyridoxal phosphate, that is this PLP, being the active form of pyridoxine, uh, it is being synthesized by the pyridoxal kinase, the enzyme which is uh, getting the utility of the adenine triphosphate, or the so-called ATP. This pyridoxal is being formed from this pyridoxal phosphate with the help of pyridoxal kinase. Now, this vitamin B6 is a very important coenzyme in something called as intermedullary metabolism of amino acids and complex glycolipids. Deep into the biochemistry thing, where the this vitamin B6 plays a key role in breakdown of amino acids. Breakdown of proteins, where proteins are nothing but the long chain of amino acids, where the amino acids act as the smaller units, and it's something like a white crystalline substance which is soluble in water and alcohol. Now, this pyridoxal being a coenzyme for many enzymes. First of all, what is a coenzyme? Coenzyme is a organic and an non organic and non-protein substance. Non-protein part of an enzyme, which is a proteinaceous, as a whole, it is a proteinaceous part, where this coenzyme is a non-protein part of this enzyme. As this enzyme takes place, this coenzyme is a uh, non-proteinaceous organic compound, supporting all the many of the enzymes for the chemical reactions that are taking place in our body. Now, this that's why it is also moving to the dietary sources. We are moving to this dietary sources of vitamin B6. That is our pyridoxal. I'd like to mention about the. I'll just move this dietary sources of pyridoxal are the so-called vitamin B6. Yeah, now it is quite abundant in this. In case of beef liver, salmon, tuna, egg, pork, chicken, banana, spinach, avocados, fortified tofu, and even in fortified cereals, and something like pistachio is it's also quite abundant there. And now, moving to the required daily allowance, that is how in consideration with day basis. In case of adult men, 2 to 2.2 milligram per day is required, and in case of adult women, it is 2 milligram per day. In case of pregnant and lactating women, 2.5 milligram is required per day. As I mentioned, the dietary sources are abundant in case of animal and the vegetable sources too. Where in case of animal sources, the egg, yolk, fish, milk, meat, and in case of these vegetable sources, wheat, corn, cabbage, root, and tubers uh, are required. Now, Moving on to the metabolism part, where it is being carried, it is being absorbed in the intestine, the so-called jejunum, the part of the small intestine is getting absorbed passively with the help of albumin, where albumin here acts as a transporter. So generally what happens from this intestinal part, this pyridoxine is absorbed and it binds with this albumin and it is getting stored in the liver, kidney, brain, and even the muscle in the form of the active form, that is the coenzyme form, the so-called pyridoxal phosphate or the PLP form. Being a water soluble vitamin, it's getting excreted in urine in the form of 4 pyridoxic acid. Now, directly moving on to the deficiency part, where what are all the causes for its deficiency? I'll touch upon the functions later. We move on to the deficiency. Now, generally, what happens? Uh, what are all the causes for its deficiency? Oh, the basic thing is reduced intake. When there is reduced intake, there will be insufficient storage, something like grain storage during the rainy season, something of that sort in the primitive periods, as our uh, elders has followed. Now, on the other hand, alcoholism and impaired absorption. On the other hand, this there is something called as antivitamins, where chronic obstruction, administration of drugs, something like the drugs, something like isonic acid and penicillamine will inhibit the absorption of this vitamin B6, whereas they act as the antivitamins for this vitamin B6. What are the features that are seen? That is the clinical manifestations that are seen in this pyridoxal deficiency or the vitamin B6 deficiency. Generally, the neurological manifestations are seen in case of this vitamin B6 deficiency. Now, this B6 deficiency also leads to something called as pellagra, and it is associated with uh, s- the tryptophan metabolism. Tryptophan is synthesis from, the synthesis of niacin is from tryptophan, which is uh, due to this deficiency, and something like this xanthiniuric acid produced in high quantities and it is being excreted in urine and it serves as a reliable index of vitamin B6 deficiency. Now, decreased hemoglobin levels associated with something called as hyperchromic microcytic anemia is seen in vitamin B6 deficiency. On the other hand, weakness, sleeplessness, and something like dermatitis, glossitis. What is glossitis? That is nothing but inflammation of the tongue. To be in simple terms, நாக்கெல்லாம் புண்ணாயிடும். On the other hand, dermatitis is nothing but inflammation of the skin. Inflammation in the sense injury, or to be putting it in simple terms, inflammation means damage. So dermatitis is damage to the skin, and glossitis is damage to the tongue. And regarding this peripheral neuropathy, what is peripheral neuropathy? Peripheral neuropathy is nothing but actually this vitamin B6 helps for something like formation of myelin sheets. What are myelin sheets? Myelin sheets are nothing but the coverings of the nerve cells. Let me repeat. These myelin sheets are coverings of the nerve cells, which help for the the transportation of the chemical and electrical impulses that are being transported through the nerve cells. Now, what happens when this myelin sheets are damaged? So, generally, what happens when you try to travel from one place to other, your car gets impaired or gets broken down. The same thing happens here, like that. So now what happens is the nervous transportation, that is the stimulus is being the stimulus, the apparent and the efferent stimulus is being affected. Now, as I mentioned, anemia is also is seen. On the other hand, drowsiness, nausea, and loss of appetite is also seen. Moving on to this toxic management. Now, what could be done when there is excess amount of vitamin B6 ingestion or these excess amount of B6 circulation in our body? Now, excess amount of B6, that is vitamin B6, might lead to something called a sensory neuropathy. It is manifested in the sense it is seen. I mean, the symptoms that are shown are nothing but imbalance, numbness will be seen, muscle weakness, and nerve damage will also be there. In case of this toxicity, large dose of vitamin B6 generally causes nerve damage, where two vitamins that should be avoided are vitamin B15, something called as pancamic acid, and vitamin B17, lateral, where this lateral contains 6% cyanide by weight and has caused chronic cyanide poisoning and death. And this too much of B6 in the body can result in night restlessness and a vivid dream recall. That's quite fantasizing, right? Now, when there is more than 200 milligram per day, which will be causing something called as peripheral neuropathy, which I mentioned earlier, uh, and when the doses become higher in case of 500 milligram per day, that might uh, cause serious central nervous system problems, something like complete neural damage in the brain. And there could be pain in the arms, legs, and numbness, or even tingling sensation in the hand, feet, and the clumsiness would be awkward enough. The loss of balance will be prominent, and difficulty in walking could be seen. Now, what could be done for managing this? Depending upon the severity of the dosage, that is up to 100 milligram per day is given. Yeah. Now, prior to that, let me talk about the functions of that. Functions of this vitamin B6. As I mentioned, this vitamin B6 help for the myelin sheath formation, and it is also helping for it also acts as a coenzyme, where this coenzyme helps for many chemical reaction that is taking place in our body. Chemical reactions in the sense, generally, particularly speaking, in case of this protein breakdown, that is protein metabolism, where the amino acid is being broken down into smaller fragments for the further utilization. Yeah. So on the other hand, it is also helped. I mean, it is also very essential for the protection of the red blood cells or the RBC, the so-called RBC. Yeah. So let me move on to vitamin B7. Vitamin B7, or the so-called biotin. So this biotin was formerly known as anti-egg white injury factor, or vitamin H, as it's soluble in being a water soluble vitamin that contains sulfur and I mean, sorry, it is a sulfur containing vitamin, where biotin mainly participates in the carboxylation reactions. Carboxylation reactions are nothing but the transfer of the carbon dioxide from the I mean the ketone of carbon in case of the it's quite deep into the biochemical thing. Let me directly be in simple terms. Yeah, this biotin being sulfur containing, to be more precise, the heterocyclic sulfur containing monocarboxylic acid, uh, and a derivative of something called as imidazole. It is formed by fusion of imidazole and something called as thiophin rings with a valeric acid chain. That's quite deep into the biochemical thing. And once again, this biotin covalently binds to something called as the amino group of the lysine of the biocytin. Is also it also it's biocytin is nothing but the coenzyme form of the biotin, and biotin is the prosthetic group for the carboxylase enzyme. Now this vitamin B7 being water soluble and sulfur containing vitamin B complex, sulfur containing B complex vitamin, it strengthens the immunity. It takes care of, it plays a major role in maintaining the immunity of the body. Now, let me move on to the functions prior to the diet resources. The biochemical functions of this biotin are nothing but the carboxylation reactions, and it is required for the enzymes, something like the pyruvate carboxylase, acetyl CoA carboxylase, propanol carboxylase, or something known as butyl methyl protonol CoA carboxylase, and so on. And as I said, it is very vital for the healthy immune system, and it's involved in metabolism, which is essential for the growth and health of hair too. And it controls the proper distribution of the color pigment in the body, the pigmentation, where I will mention about this something called as Carl's ring due to the vitamin B5 deficiency in the previous session. If you had some clarity, if you need some clarity, you could go and watch that. And coming to this vitamin B7, it also helps in the sound conditioning of the nervous system. Yeah. Now, this has got something called as healing and therapeutic properties, where treatment with the treatment with 20 microgram of biotin taken daily for 10 days intramuscularly can heal the skin lesions in case of the pigmentation too, which is something quite deep into this aesthetics, something called as the polishing and making the body flamboyant, something like that. You know, going to the sources of this biotin, that is vitamin B7. Now, this sources come something like the cauliflower, avocado, sweet potatoes, sunflower seeds, nuts, which all come under the domain of the vegetarian stuff. And in case of the non-veg stuff, something like the beef liver, salmon, egg, and pork is very high in this vitamin B7. Yeah. Now, this RDA is something like RDA is nothing but the required daily allowance that has to be ingested in case or in terms of this vitamin B7. It is somewhere around 200 to 300 milligram per day has to be ingested. Now, moving on to this metabolism part, basically the intestinal flora, the so-called the prebiotics and the probiotics can synthesis biotin, that is, and this biotin is stored in the liver and excreted in urine. What are all the deficiency symptoms that could be seen? I mentioned about the functions, it seems, that are required for the metabolic pathways, and it helps in the maintaining of the immune system and the pigmentation of our skin. Oh, yeah, these are all the benefits of the biotin. You could see that, right? You know, directly moving to the deficiency part of the biotin. Yeah. Where the muscular weakness and something called as lassitude is seen, and lack of appetite, skin disorders, something called as dermatitis, to be more precise, and heart abnormalities could be seen. On the other hand, as the neurological part plays a key role in case of the deficiency of this vitamin B7, confusion, extreme fatigue, drowsiness, mental depression could also be sensed. Now, but generally, the deficiency is not seen because it's this vitamin B7 is widely distributed in the food sources, and synthesis of vitamin by the bacterial flora in the gut causes something like it nearly satiates the need, something like the sulfonamides that are being produced, and now let me talk about something like the iodine antagonists, or something called as avidin, the raw egg white injury factor. This raw egg white injury factor is something like the heat labile protein known as avidin. It is present in this raw egg. This avidin binds to biotin and makes it unavailable for absorption. Now, this avidin is also inactivated by boiling the eggs, and the biotin is readily being absorbed when the eggs are boiled and used in the diet. Now, this avidin, one molecule of avidin can combine with four molecules of biotin, where this egg white contains avidin and egg yolk contains biotin. That's the first part, right? Yeah. Now, this affinity to iodine, the affinity of iodine to biotin is greater than most of usual antigen antibody reactions, where the iodine and biotin system is commonly utilized for detection of pathogens. That is nothing but the intruders into our body, that is the external intruders or the antigens that are entering our body, uh, which is being detected in the LSR test. Now, this DNA is generally labeled by the radioactive nucleotides. I guess recently binding labeling of DNA is becoming more popular, and it is also added in nucleotides, and which will be incorporated into newly synthesis DNA, where the fixed binding can be identified by the reaction with this iodine. Now, as a matter of fact, intake of nearly 20 raw eggs per day will reduce iodine deficiency in humans. So you can ask me, I spoke about boiling of eggs. How about making poached eggs or something like making omelets? Yeah. Uh, even, but they don't have any harm in case of this iodine deficiency. Yeah. I guess that's the end of this session. Now, kindly throw up your doubts and clarification so that that would be quite which I would like to answer your queries. Yeah, thank you. You can post your questions in the comment section. Yeah, guys, as I could hardly sense any questions in the comment section, uh, I hope that's the end of the session as far as today is concerned. And we'll meet you up, guys, with a wonderful session by tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Good day. Stay tuned. Bye.